Now I'm going to show you the thick paint phase in action. Refining and polishing simply takes patience, and it would really not make for a very interesting video if watched in real time. So I've decided to go ahead and create some time-lapse video of this phase, and I'll be explaining the general concepts as I go. So the process that you'll see me repeat over and over is what's called on-screen mixing, and I talk more about this in Digital Paint 101. But the important thing to know is that I'm primarily sampling from the colors that are already on the canvas, and in certain cases sampling from my mini palette. Now, one of the things that happens when you do the glazing method is that you end up with a bit darker of a result than you're looking for. And this is especially bad in things like skin. So you'll see that I spend a fair amount of time smoothing out the skin and giving a little more illumination to it. Skin has a way of looking more realistic if it's more well illuminated. Also in this piece, the face is the focal point. So it's important that I spend a lot of time making the face look good, because the viewer will be spending a lot of time looking at it. And the secret is you can actually let some of the other areas of the composition be intentionally lower detail, as long as the focal points look good. So here, as I round out the muscles in the arm, you'll see me using large round brushes to make a nice smooth gradation, and then carve out those edges with the hard round. Doing this gives me a nice balance of a few defined anchor points, and then smooth, soft skin to connect them. And you might notice that this tattoo began by getting a little bit darker. This is one case where I momentarily switched back into a glazing mode, made a couple multiply layers to get the base of the tattoo down. Then I went back to opaque paints to slowly build up those highlights again. Skin is a really tricky subject matter. There's no way around it. Everybody handles it differently, so you'll find that really practice is the only way to figure out how painting skin works best for you. Now you may have noticed that before I started painting the clouds, my first step was to purge some of my temp layers. Now these build up naturally through my process, but every so often I have to merge them down into a single layer. It's just good housekeeping. What I'm trying to do here is to pull the focus towards the character by keeping soft clouds to contrast the hard edges of the form. When it comes to working near the focal point, the edge quality is very important. So I'm sampling back and forth between the background color, the blue sky, and the color of his shoulder pad to really refine that edge. It's a very descriptive shape, and it'll help give some character. If you have a large shape to work with, sometimes the most important part to spend time on is the edge, because it's that transition between one shape and another that will catch the eye. After skipping ahead a little more, I've now finished this phase of the thick paint. I've covered all the important areas and worked on those focal points especially. So now all that's left are the special effects, like the radiant energy coming off his axe, and the post-processing.